Who's that baby? You see the baby? Do you see her? Well, that's a little bit small, the screen, isn't it? Say hi. I'm 5 months old now and so big. Look how big I am. Oh, let's hold you up a little so they can see. I'm a long girl. So long. Oh, the wrapping paper. The wrapping paper, so colorful. How's this baby, huh? How's this baby? Are you my little rosy cheek girl? She just ate, so she's rosy cheeks. Oh, you are so sweet. I love you so much. She's so cute. I hope you guys enjoyed having a look at her. I'm going to talk all about our progress and what's been going on with our little self. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Here you can see her little, I talk about this in the video, but you can see her little, she's still got her little bald spot from rubbing her head because she sleeps on her back. But other than that, we're just practically perfect, aren't we? Practically perfect in every way. Just like Mary Poppins. Say, okay, we'll see you later. Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to one of my monthly postpartum updates here. My daughter Charlotte is 5 months old now. So this update is going to reflect her progress, life, everything from 4 to 5 months, so that period of time. So I'm going to start with I'm going to talk mostly about her and just a little bit about me at the end, my postpartum experience. So in terms of her stats, Charlotte now weighs 15.5 pounds. So she's kind of falls right in the middle of the, she's right like average weight. She's still in like the 98th percentile for height though. By my measuring, she's 27 inches. Now it's really hard to measure a baby and that's the best that I can guess, that she's 27 inches. So she is still very, very long. She's at least 26 and a half, if not 27. Let's just put it that way. So she's a long girl. Whenever I'm out with her, people assume that she's older than she is. I think A, because she's so tall, and B, because she has so much hair. She actually didn't lose a ton of her newborn hair. Well, maybe she did, but it grew in at the same time. Like the new hair grew in, so she never really went bald in one place, except for there's one place in the back of her head that is completely bald because she does sleep on her back and she, you know, rubs her head back and forth. It's one of her soothing things. And when she's also like sleeping, she in different like lighter, what do they call it? Sorry, my guys, my brain is not here today. It's like the lighter REM cycle where they're like more awake but still asleep. She tends to do that. So, and the baby hair is very, very fine and delicate, and so it's just broken off there. It's just like a little bald spot. But I'm told that when babies learn to roll over and are more mobile in their sleeping, then they find the sleep position that they like the best and they tend to stay in it more. So maybe she'll start sleeping on her side or whatever. I don't know. She sleeps on her back because that's how I put her down, and that's the only position she can stay in. That being said, she can rotate, and she does, and she has ever since she was a baby. She still wakes up to feed once in the night, and I'll talk about her sleeping in a minute, but when I go in to get her, she is complete, like I put her down, you know, in the crib, like normal, like with her head at one end and her feet on the other. When I go in to get her, she's completely perpendicular, so she's scooched herself all the way over. So she's mobile in that way. She has not rolled over yet. I think rolling over typically happens anywhere between 4 to 6 months. She is, however, really into shifting her weight in tummy time. I can tell that she's getting closer. I help her. We play a little game I call roly-poly, where I kind of help her roll over. She loves that game, actually, even though she's not a huge fan of tummy time still, but she's doing much better at it. I have to say, it took a long time and a lot of persistence and perseverance, but she's actually able to hang out in tummy time without getting upset for like a good solid 4 or 5 minutes now on any given day. And we do tummy time multiple times a day, so I think our tummy time probably adds up to probably close to about somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes a day, not all at once, but cumulative, which is what they suggest. They suggest like 30 minutes a day. But I just put her on her tummy every time I put her down on her mat to play. We start on her tummy, and then for as long as she can handle it, and then I kind of help her roll over. We play our roly-poly game, and then she plays on her back for a while, and then I'll roll her over onto her stomach again, and etc. So she isn't rolling over yet. She is much more mobile at rotating and shifting her weight on her back. So she'll shift a lot from side to side, and she'll get all the way to one side, then she'll go all the way to the other, and she can play on her side now. She didn't used to like being on her side, but she's much more tolerant of it now. I think just because she's able to get in and out of it herself. So I feel like she's gonna roll over in the next, I don't know when, but I'm not worried about it. I think it's going to happen when she's ready. She's already showing the signs that she's working on it, which is the main reason that a few weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, I weaned her off the Swaddle. So Charlotte has been a Swaddle baby. She loves being swaddled. I've loved the Swaddle Me sacks that have the Velcro that are just easy. Those were great for weaning her off the Swaddle because it took me about 8 days to wean her off the Swaddle. So I started with 4 days with one arm out, and I put her non-dominant arm out because I wanted it to not be too distracting to her. So I put her left arm out. Her left arm is definitely her non-dominant arm as far as I can tell. So we did that for all naps and nighttime sleeps for 4 days, and she didn't have a problem with that. I was actually kind of surprised that she breezed through that. So I was like, okay, well, after 4 days, I thought we can try the other arm too. But the great thing about the Swaddle Me sacks is you could still have it Velcroed around her chest, so she still has that kind of sensation of being swaddled without the arms. So having the second arm out was definitely harder for her, and it took about, with the one arm out, it didn't take any time at all for her to adjust. But with both arms out, it took the full 4 days for her to adjust, and I felt like she just really wasn't because the Swaddle was now lower on her chest, and I felt like it was more kind of getting around her hips and kind of interfering with how she likes to play with her legs. She pulls her legs up a lot when she's shifting in and out of sleep cycles, and when she's just waking up or trying to go to bed, she likes to play with her legs. And I felt like that was kind of interfering with that. So I moved her into a traditional sleeping bag after 8 days of the initial weaning process, and she has slept great since with the sleeping bag. So I'm probably going to talk about the sleeping bag not in this Mommy Favorites because we just started using it, but in the next Mommy Favorites because I really like it. It was super expensive, but so nice and worth it, I think. Anyway, sleep has been going pretty well. I don't know why I said that. Sleep has been going terribly. Look at the momnesia kicks in so fast. But for her, between 4 to 5 months, Charlotte definitely went through a sleep regression, which is a typical thing that a lot of babies go through. There's a lot of changes that happen developmentally at the 4-month mark, and that affects sleep. And Charlotte went from being very consistent, sleeping 8 hours I put her down at 7:30 every night, and she'd wake up at about, I don't know, 3:30 or 4, sometime between 3:30 and 4:30. And I would feed her, and then she'd go back down until 7:30 or so. And that was pretty consistent in her 3rd month, but then in the 4th month, that went out the window. She started waking up at 1 a.m. and then again at 5, and then waking early, like getting up at 6 a.m. instead of sleeping till 7:30. And it was just all over the board. Every day was different, and it was really, really confusing. We did also travel in Charlotte's 4th month. So we went to New Orleans with her. It was our first trip together. That actually went really well considering she slept so little. She really did not get good quality sleep. I wasn't expecting her to with the first trip, and also just because she wasn't on a schedule, she was having a terrible sleep. Sleep was just all over the board anyway. So I wasn't expecting it to be good when we were traveling and she wasn't in her home environment, because Charlotte's never really, ever since she was about 2 months old, she really hasn't slept well anywhere except her crib. She doesn't sleep well in her stroller. She doesn't sleep well in her car seat. She's very odd baby according to other people I know with babies, in that she doesn't fall asleep in the car. That doesn't get her, a lot of babies just fall asleep right away in the car. Charlotte does not fall asleep in the car. But she sleeps really well in her crib for the most part. So I was worried about it. But what I wasn't prepared for was that she was going to do so well on such poor sleep while we were away. And I was really just blown away by how well she handled the traveling and all of the new sights and people. And I mean, we were at a conference where we were meeting people, and she was, being greeted by lots of people, and she just handled it like a champ on such little sleep. And I was just so, just really pleased about it. If you heard that noise, that was the garage. Sorry about that. Dawn's running out. Anyway, so sleep was really, really not good. And it was during that time, and I kind of was prepared for it because I'd heard about the 4-month sleep regression. I had done some reading on it. I knew she was like in a wonder week. I'm all for that app. I think it's very accurate. I talked about that last month, I believe, in my favorites, or a couple of months ago. But Wonder Weeks is just a book that some people wrote about times that generally most babies go through developmental changes, and it affects their mood and their sleep and all of that. It was towards the end of her 4th month, when she was closing in on 5 months, where it just became really clear to me that she could benefit from a bit more of a structure. For almost 5 months, I did totally baby-led. I did not schedule her feedings. I did not schedule her naps. The only thing I really scheduled was her bedtime, but even that was a bit flexible. It kind of fell within a certain hour range. And that worked, I feel like that really worked for us for the first 3 months, especially with the breastfeeding and reflux issues that we went through. I just felt like that had to happen. But it was about at 4 months with the regression and everything, and she settled into being totally reflux free and just being healthy and well enough to sleep well, but she just wasn't. And it just became so clear to me that she really was calling for some help from me for a bit more structure. So in the last couple of weeks, I started putting her down every night at the same time and starting our morning every day around the same time. So it's within about a 30-minute window. And she typically, she typically wakes up between 7:30 and 8, so that's easy. So I'm basically, her last feed and bedtime is the same every day, and her first feed is within about a 30-minute period of time of her wake-up time. And that we've stayed consistent with, and it's actually helping her fall into a bit more of a structured routine, and it's actually helping a lot with her naps. She struggled with they call it the 45-minute intruder or whatever. That's what I've read online. But basically for her, it's never been 45 minutes. She wakes up 30 minutes basically on the dot. I think I'm going to talk about this more in the 5-month update because it's really something we've been working on now. But I realized that I wasn't giving her a chance to fall into the next sleep cycle because I have a video monitor and I'm maybe a little hyper vigilant, and every time her eyes blinked open, I was like, oh, she's up, she's ready, and I'd run in there and get her, even if she needed time to possibly shift into another sleep cycle. So I've been trying to be a little bit more aware of that and give her a little bit more time and space, not crying or anything. I always go in to get her if she's crying, but if she's just kind of moving around, kind of looking around, or even just unsing a little bit. I think there's a big difference between fussing and actually crying. I always go and get her if she's crying. But giving her a little time to fall back asleep, I found that she does fall back asleep 9 times out of 10, which is amazing. So now she's sleeping during her daytime sleep is getting much better. Her nighttime sleep is finally starting to readjust back into her previous pattern where she's sleeping about 8 hours. She's up for a feed and then she sleeps for a couple of hours. And so far that's going really well. But I will report back more on that next month because that's more like this month that we've been working on that. But yeah, sleep was rough for everybody, but I think we're coming around, and I just think we're getting more into a place in her life where she's really ready for a bit more of routine, and she's shown me that. I've always just followed her lead, and that has been what it's obvious to me that's what she's been needing. So anyway, I'm going to report back more on that next time. Oh, this is so long. I'm sorry, you guys. Playtime, I told you about her shifting, her rotating. She rotates even on her play mat. She'll kind of shimmy around. She loves holding her feet. That's her like obsession now. She's getting really close to getting them in her mouth. So she's really worked a lot on you know, her abdominal toning. I guess we've been in physical therapy, so I have a lot of these, you know, I get a lot of this information. But she loves playtime. She's so much more active and alert with it. She's now grabbing toys with both hands and bringing them to her midline and up to her mouth. That's a milestone that babies go through. She's really, really into exploring my face and my hands. She's very, very interested in both of those. She likes exploring my mouth and my nose. And she loves playing with my hands, especially after she's done eating and, you know, she's still cradled. You know, I nurse her, so she's still cradled in my arms. She loves playing with my face and arms then, which is so, so cute. She giggled finally for the first time over the past month. She's very, very selective about when she laughs. I found that the most often I can get her to do it is when I do something called Kissy Monster. So after she feeds and I put her up to burp, I'll kiss her all over her cheeks and neck, and I call it Kissy Monster. And sometimes if I get a very certain spot on her chin, she'll giggle a little, which is so, so cute. And her laughter just brings me life. It's so cute. And I can't wait for her to, you know, get more and more comfortable with laughing and expressing herself in that way. She smiles all the time. She's a very happy baby. She coos a lot. She talks a lot. You know, talks. Baby talk. What else can I tell you? Oh, we started practicing sitting. So she sits for a little bit in the boppy. She can do that for just a little bit before she gets tired. But she's interested in sitting, like leaning up against me. She's much more active when sitting in that way. She loves the game where I pull her up to sitting from lying down with her arms. She loves that, and she loves it when I lift her up in the air. Let's see what else. And she's just much more interactive with her toys. Like I said, she's much more you know, she's better at holding things. She goes to town with the rattles. She loves putting things in her mouth now. It's really starting to come out now. So she's just getting more and more active. I wanted to talk about her hair and her eye color, because I get asked about that a lot. Her hair color is definitely lightened up. I know I mentioned earlier that I didn't feel like she lost a lot of it, but what I've noticed is that the new hair grew in under it. So her hair's still really dark, kind of at the bottom of her, the base of her skull. That's still really dark, like as dark as when she was born, but the hair on top of her head is much lighter now, and it's very, very similar to what color my hair was at her age. It was like a dirty blonde or really, really light brown, somewhere in between. And even her eyebrows are that color, although her eyelashes are dark, which leads me to believe eventually she'll have darker hair like mine, like a brown hair. But we'll see. And her eyes have been shifting. They used to be just kind of gray, which is kind of typical newborn color. Now they've settled into more of an olive color. They're definitely dark. Her daddy has green eyes. I have brown eyes. But I have brown eyes with some light. They're actually much lighter in person than they are on camera. They have some copper tones to them, so I'm thinking she's either going to have brown eyes that are kind of like mine, or hazel eyes, somewhere in between me and Dawn. But they're definitely, I would call them olive right now. I get asked about that all the time, so I thought I should mention it. All right, so I mentioned the reflux thing of the past. I'm not going to talk about it anymore because she's been reflux free basically since she turned 4 months. She still occasionally spits up and all that. I mean, it's just regular baby stuff, but it's not painful anymore, so that's awesome. Torticollis is also now, thankfully, seemingly, a thing of the past. In fact, we just stopped physical therapy this week. Was our last session. We're going to reassess, I think, in a couple of months, see how she does. See what our doctor says at her 6-month update and all that, but I think we did well with that. The physical therapy really, really helped. We also did see a pediatric specialized chiropractor a bunch, which helped a lot. I didn't talk about that previously. I don't know why, it just always escaped me to talk about it. But I feel like that was really, really, really helpful for the torticollis, and maybe that's something I can talk about in a blog post or something down the road. But both that and the physical therapy helps a lot, and now she has full range of motion with her head. She actually sleeps mostly with her head to the left. Torticollis is a condition where the muscles are tight in the neck, and it can cause the baby to prefer one side and cause a flat head kind of shape. So she preferred being to the right a lot, as right out of the womb. That was her preference. And then now she's got full range of motion. Like I said, she even sleeps mostly with her head to the left, and it's no problem. But the physical therapy was great, but now we're on our own, and I think it's going well. I've gotten requests to share more about Charlotte's relationship with her daddy, with Don. It's so sweet to see. There was a period of time, I know I talked about, between 2 and 3 months where Charlotte was really, really mommy-centric, and just I think because she was in so much pain and we were nursing so much, she was just like glued to me, basically, like literally. And she was a little bit iffy with Don, a little bit. But since then, since she's been feeling better, it's really been night and day to that. She loves Don. She gets the biggest smile on her face when she sees him. He's been very, very busy with work lately, so he's not here a lot during the day, but he's usually here when she wakes up in the morning, and then he's home during her last wakeful period of the day, so between 5 and 6:30 when we start bedtime at 6:30. He gets to spend time with her then too. So he loves going and seeing her first thing in the morning, waking her up, getting cuddles in before her, first feed, and then playing with her in the evening when he gets home from work. So that's really sweet. And I was thinking I might ask him to write a little blip for my blog post update. So I will include that for you guys about his experience with Charlotte from the past month. So I think I'm going to do that, but we'll see. I mean, if he has time, just a couple of sentences for the blog post. And then lastly, for me, things are going well. I feel like I don't have a ton to report that's different from last month. I have been struggling with a little bit of fatigue this week, but we're already in the 5th month, so that's not really pertinent to the 4 to 5 month range. It was a tough month with the sleep, but honestly, she's been such a joy. I mean, she's always been a joy, but she's been like super, super alert and involved and engaged, and that has just, kind of wipes the sleep problems off the board because it's just so worth it. So worth it. But I think it's catching up with me a little bit now that she's settling back into a kind of her normal sleep. I think my body's finally like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. So we'll see. I don't know. But aside from that, I'm doing great. Really nothing to report, I guess. So that's good. I do feel like my mama pooch, the little belly issue, after you give birth, you have a bit of a belly for a while. And I think it's just, especially if you're breastfeeding, your body holds on to fat a bit more just as a reserve. It's a natural, kind of thing that your body does. And my mama pooch is definitely getting smaller and smaller. I'm still eating like a horse. I'm so hungry all the time, especially the first half of the day. I am starving. And I'm not eating particularly like super awesome healthy. I usually follow like the 80-20 rule where I'm healthy 80% of the time and not healthy 20% of the time. It's probably more of a 70-30 now, to be honest. But it's been working out just fine. And I have been exercising. I haven't had a ton of time this past month to exercise just because of her erratic sleeping and me needing to prioritize sleep over exercise, but I've been trying to squeeze in workouts where I can. I'm probably working out about 3 to 5 times a week when I can squeeze a workout in. I am hoping to get back into running, but I think that might have to wait until she's sleeping all the way through the night and I can get up early, be confident that she's going to be sleeping for a while, go for a really early morning run, and then be there for her for the rest of the day. It just makes me nervous to go out of the house, even if Dawn is home. If she needs to feed, it's just too hard, and I need to prioritize sleep as well. So hopefully this summer I can get back into running. But that is all. Yeah, I think that's everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this update. Let me know if I didn't cover anything that you'd like to hear about for next time. I'd love to share with you. And you can check out my blog post for the progression picture of Charlotte's growth and other stats. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Take care. Bye.